You are already caught up in a technology so powerful that one of its founders is talking about the Antichrist. Yes, welcome to beast technology. It is upon us. They have technology now to track the intimate details of every person on earth, map it all together, and produce profiles of you, your personality, all your tendencies, to the point that they can predict what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. And there's not just one, there's one primary one that we're going to talk about called Gotham, a program of Palantir, which was created by Peter Thiel. We're going to talk about that one at some bit. We're also going to talk about Shadow Dragon, Data Miner, and Babel Street, which is some other programs out in the marketplace which already do and have been doing similar functions. But Gotham takes it to a new level. It's global. It's tracking everyone, and it's used by law enforcement and military for military planning at all levels. As they say, from space to the mud. So, guys, how are we going to get out of this crud? Well, we'll talk about two ways, two things you can do, primarily two things that you're going to have to do, one or the other. You have no choice. And we're going to talk about some other things, about taking certain marks, maybe down the road. Guys, things are getting a little too interesting, a little too fast. So let's get straight to it. I'm going to show you the websites of the very entities we're talking about, and then we're going to talk about Peter Thiel at some length because he's such a prime character in all this stuff. So here we go. If I'll log in here. All right, so let's just go in this website. Uh-oh, is it going up? There we go. We just launched. Pardon me for that. I want you to see AI powered automation for every decision. Every decision. Get that, guys. Every single decision. What are they talking about? So they're showing all kind of things. So let's go on down here. Scroll to explore. Interoperability. AI transforming the battlefield. If y'all might know, Canadian prepper Nate over there, he likes to talk about Palantir and how he thinks that our Department of Defense, NATO, is going to use this to launch a blitzkrieg attack on the Russia, excuse me. I still harking back the old days. Supporting Army data platforms, just look at all this stuff, the strategy, everything. Resurrecting American industrial base. So there's different platforms. There's several different programs. We're going to go more into warp speed. Oh, Lord. You remember that little program that certain presidents started a couple of administrations back? Anyway, our software powers real time AI driven decisions in critical government and commercial enterprises in the West, from factory floors to the front lines. So they have different platforms here. AIP, Gotham, and this Gotham is the one that's for the military. AIP is for factory floors. Foundry, build and manage ontology powered software with a complete developer program. Apollo, autonomously deploy and monitor and manage software across any environment. There's so much to build. Just come in here and join us. And here's their customers: Wendy's, Walgreens, AT&T, Heineken. So just think about that when you drink Heineken. They got offerings to anti-money laundering, American Tech Fellowship, data protection, defense, energy, federal health, on and on and on. See all this list here, guys? Lordy, 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 lordy. Different companies, different capabilities. Airbus, yeah, I've been hearing about that through them. Holy smoke, guys. All right, so let's go over to the next thing. Let's look at Gotham. Well, look at this. Showing satellite networks tracking says you are now entering Gotham. This is your software is the weapon system. Can you believe this stuff? Sure, all kind of intel targeting here. Transloading facilities. They got different things they're showing here. Dragnet. Magic. Oh, what the heck? Look here, guys. just all kinds of range, speed, what's in target areas, just all kinds of instant information to anybody looking for this stuff at their fingertips. Decision dominance from space to mud. Everything on Earth, everybody on Earth, everyone, I should say. Orchestrate combat power. Orchestrate, you know, wow. Makes death and destruction sound musical. Well, we know it's anything but. AI driven combat superiority. Skynet, anyone? Where can this lead, guys? Explore defense solutions. Come in here, be a customer. Join this thing. Look here, look at all the satellites they're showing. And you can pick and choose all these different assets, I guess. Targets, whatever. This is crazy what it's the capability. Ops center anywhere. Yeah, your operation centers anywhere you want to be. Look here. This is a guy wearing the mask, and it's just showing him everything from his VR mask. Oh, wait. I got some technology to show you toward the end here, too. Physical technology. It's going to blow your mind. Palantir came up with the ground breaking technologies that help us make better decisions in combat zones. You're giving us advantages right now that we need. General James N. Mattis, former Secretary of Defense. Well, that right now was probably a few years ago. Palantir started, what, several years ago, 2008 maybe. So there you are, guys. This is a very powerful platform that's got, it's for combat. That part of it's for combat. Now here's Shadow Dragon, criminal investigations, law enforcement. See, oh yes, it's showing taking data from everywhere for an individual, a person. That's really it. Turn your data into action, and action into intelligence. And where does this come from? This comes from open source intelligence, OSINT. All this stuff comes from the technology that you have shared, the digital footprint you've left behind since you've been first using data devices, internet, your phone, smartphone, everything you've ever done, every place you've ever been. And you buy something with a credit card, you use digital bank money, cash apps, they got it all. Because that's all OSINT. See, unleash your OSINT. Yeah. Open source intelligence. Social net, monitor. Get Get scale, insight, and precision in your investigations. Transform data into intelligence and intelligence into action. Investigate on the go, anywhere, anytime, anyone's what it don't say, but that is really it. Understand who's behind digital activity can shift the decisions of an investigation. Yeah, see, guys, they are really into this. So starts here. Does this give you the heebie-jeebies yet? And here's data miner. Same kind of stuff. Real-time information reimagined. Real-time information. So they can put it down where you're at. Customer case studies. Now, Baylor universities use real-time information to keep students and faculty safe. You know what's supposed to be the moniker of the antichrist? Safety and security. Yeah, right. What did Ben Franklin say about those that desire safety and security deserve neither and will get neither, or something like that? He had a quote about that. He was telling you guys that freedom is what matters. Anyone that sacrifices freedom for safety and security will have neither. That's what he said. So, and here is Babel Street. This is just another platform out there. Now, the more powerful ones are the ones that Palantir has. They're global. They just got a $10 billion award from the Defense Department. So just take that into account. Global information intelligence to close the risk confidence gap. Babel Street unlocks the power of unstructured, publicly available information and in-house data to create a safer, more productive world. Hmm. Well, yeah, you can use Babel Street. You can be this lady here, gain greater invisibility in the supply chain and cover the truth faster. Simplify compliance, reduce risk, proactively mitigate risk, make informed decisions with confidence. Yikes. How about this? Uh, why didn't they catch this guy? That Minneapolis bang banger? He was on YouTube. He put a YouTube video out saying what he was going to do. And they didn't catch him. There are those out there who thinks that he was like a Manchurian candidate. What do you think? If you think he was a Manchurian candidate, put a 2 in the chat room below. If you think not, put a 1. I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Now, also, I'm going to ask you, I got a quiz at the end of all this, too. A quiz where you can help me. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about your choices in dealing with this stuff. Oh yeah, just to let you guys know, just on the economic front, a little bit of a break for the topic here, to help my channel out a little bit. De-dollarization is accelerating. Like we didn't know this. The dollar is our world's reserve currency. When it loses that status and there's not so many dollars in the marketplace, every time the government spends a little extra, it's going to be a much bigger fraction of the dollars available. What's that mean? Inflation. And that means things get worth, you got to pay more for stuff like gold. Oh, yeah, gold just hit a 5-week peak on a weaker dollar. Duh. What am I saying, guys? Just what I'm talking about. So look at this, guys. Gold is now up to 3,494, almost $3,500 per troy ounce. Yeah, just $5 and uh, $5.62 shy. Geez, guys, think about that. So if you go to defythegrid.com, they offer all kinds of stuff, but they got a special deal. They say if you find a better price anywhere, call us today and we'll meet it or beat it. Nobody else in the marketplace for gold, silver, and things like that makes that kind of guarantee. So get gold you can hold instead of some kind of certificate. So you can buy coins, rounds, bars, silver, platinum, palladium, copper, gold. You can get these notes made of silver or gold backs, which are actually gold printed out in the form of a bill. And I got one right here that I carried in my wallet for some time. That's why it's curved and a bit abused. It's been carried in my wallet for a long time. That's 1/1000th of a troy ounce. It's fungible, which means that's kind of quantities I can go out and barter for bread or eggs with them when the grid goes down. There's no more dollars around or they're worthless. Think about that. All right, my friends. So you can use the code Green Greg's coupon code. Green Greg's coupon code and get 1% off. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the news. Let's talk about Peter Thiel. Peter. This guy was a co-founder of PayPal, the first outside investor in Facebook. So he's been an investor in AI and web social media market space from the inception, practically speaking. And what he said is he creating Palantir, which he co-founded that. He said that he looked at their security software, their approaches for financial security and fraud investigation specifically, and he realized that this was a tool that could be used by law enforcement. And that was the beginnings of Palantir. Boy, they've taken it places, haven't they? Well, he was born in Germany, spent some time in South Africa, then Southwest Africa, which became Namibia, came to the United States and kind of went back and forth a little bit. Because he's born German, he's got a German citizenship, he's got a U.S. citizenship, and he's recently obtained a New Zealand citizenship. We know a lot of rich people are going to New Zealand for their bug out locations, where they're prepping. And I do believe he's a prepper. Well, he's also a conservative libertarian. Says he don't like big government. He says he's a Christian, but he's also a key committee member inside the Bilderberger group. You see where all this is going? I don't know, guys. This is scary. Now, just because he's in the Bilderberg group, he's not sharing what they're doing. Nobody in the Bilderberg group talks about what happens in the Bilderberg group. It's a very secretive organization. How does an organization retain that level of secrecy? That's a good question because most organizations can't do it. That's highly suspicious. But, I once joined an organization because I was scared of where they were going. I was scared of their goals. I considered them evil. I thought they were like the level of the Antichrist. As you may know, I'm a long-time space advocate, and I'm for having property rights in space and free enterprise. And I joined an organization that was planning to set up a world space government for all of space, which is like a world government and beyond, because it would be everything. And they were planning to have a constitutional convention, and their philosophies were very much anti-property rights and a whole lot of things that were antithetical to freedom. They scared me. I joined the organization. I wound up being the chairman of their constitutional convention. Needless to say, it had all room for freedom, property rights. I totally, well, I judo flipped the organization basically, and the founder loved me for it. Wow, interesting. Sometimes watching the competition, but when I was in there getting started in that, I felt kind of like what was the pilot guy in the Left Behind series who was Christian and was the personal pilot of the Antichrist. That's kind of how I felt when I got started with that. Anyway, it was an interesting little adventure. Uh, well, he died, and he put a lot of money in that organization, and I guess that's the whole thing is on ice, that space government. But I actually chaired a constitutional convention, believe it or not, the United Societies in Space. It became ROUSES. It went from USS to ROUSES, Regency of the Outer Space Societies. I forget how we called it now. Anyway, another story. Maybe Peter's pulling something like that. That's why I bring that up. Maybe. But don't hold your breath. I mean, what's crazy is he's about to do a series on the Antichrist. Yeah. Well, like I say, he claims to be a conservative libertarian. He's backed Donald Trump quite a bit. And yet he's devising this technology, which is very much a kind of technology that a beast system would want to use. At least half of it. The other half is the social credit system like China has. You combine these two, they got you. They got you. The whole thing is all that stuff I showed you earlier. You're in it. You're in that web. They got you. What are you going to do about it? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So hang on. But let's look a little bit more at Peter Thiel here. So this is a website with an interview in Peter, and they put this up about the Antichrist, where Cardinal Newman had come out and says it is the duty of believers ever to be watching for the end of times, and above all to keep in mind the great and awful sign of which St. Paul speaks to the Thessalonians. See the emergence of the very image of Satan, the fearful and hateful Antichrist. So we'll listen to a snippet of this. You got to be careful playing snips of other people's proprietary information. So we'll keep it short and talk to it. I just want you guys, this is from the Hoover Institute, by the way, an interview with Peter Thiel. And there's another interview that's far more interesting than this one.
Close quote. As I understand your argument, you hold, one, that the prophecy of an antichrist in one way or another remains valid, or at least useful.
So you see that? Peter Thiel confesses that the Antichrist prophecy is valid.
Two, that it remains our duty, again, Cardinal Newman's word, duty, to watch for the signs that it might emerge.
So, I'm not going to go all through this video. It's long. There's some interesting points in it, but take me too long to skip around in it. But I just want you to see that he's aware of this. He's causing it, but he got kind of got caught off guard by one guy who asked him in an interview if his technology was his technology was leading to that system. He was very uncomfortable with that line of questioning. But just so you'll know, he's got a four-tier event. He's got four sessions talking about nothing other than the Antichrist. Yes. And they start on the 15th of September, just 2 weeks from now, September 22nd, September 29th, and October the 6th. I guess you can buy a ticket to it. It's going to be in San Fran. So what it says here, he's addressing the topic of the biblical Antichrist. Yeah, he spent much of his career writing and speaking about his Christian faith and forming his understanding of the world. So, wow, guys, his remarks will be anchored in science and technology. Will comment on the theology, history, literature, and politics of the Antichrist. Wow. He's drawing from Rene Girard, Sir Francis Bacon, who some people think was the real Agent 007 of Queen Elizabeth, where that 007 comes from. Your eyes only, all that terminology. Jonathan Swift, yeah, the seagull man. Carl Schmidt, and John Henry Newman. Yeah, these lectures will be off record. Yeah, I guess so. Yikes. So you can actually buy a ticket. You can buy a ticket to this. Let me see if we can close this or go back to the previous thing here. Here's a snippet of the interview where he's on chronology. This shows the piece I was wanting to show. Maybe it is here. Let's see if we get it right here.
And for you, right, is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist?
You can see you get definitely uncomfortable with that. So how's he going to do it? He's kind of squirming around a little bit.
You're like, great.
Just look at his body language. Yeah, this guy hit him hard with that question.
We're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah, I mean, he says that very facetiously, it appears.
Isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
There are all these different.
Yeah, so he's kind of started.
Scenario. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
He had a little bit of a hard time segueing into this, and he gets on a roll in a minute here.
I mean, to be clear, I don't think that's what
he's. You see, yeah, he's trying to find his footing because he just got one handed to him, which he should have expected that. I mean, how come he wasn't just ready off the bat for it? I don't know.
You're doing either.
But he will pick up and gain his footing in a little bit, but it's taking him a minute.
Interested in how you get to a world willing to submit to permanent authoritarian rule.
But he's having to think as he goes here. Isn't that interesting?
Again, there are these different gradations of this we can describe, but is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism? This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety. Because
he's right on that one.
And we've submitted.
This is my very specific
restart button. Well, you can see that he'll go on here and he'll start, trying to defend where he's at. But he was definitely caught off guard with that being the idea. The guy who's preaching about and trying to stave off the Antichrist and warn people about it may be the guy that's actually bringing the guy to power. So I don't know, guys. This is just kind of weird. Peter Thiel warns about the Antichrist while wiring the world for total surveillance, militarizing AI, and laying the groundwork for the techno-fascist rule, according to this poster here in under X. Anyway, so I don't know, guys. It is ironic. Kind of reminds me of the movie Beneath the Planet of the Apes when Carlton Heston is trying to save the world and stop the apes from blowing the world up with the doomsday bomb. He actually falls on the switch and blows the world up himself. Yeah, I don't know, guys. So I don't know. This one's hard to make, but look at this, guys. Well, I'm going to show you a couple of technology things. Then we're going to talk about your two choices. Your two choices. You only got two choices in this whole affair. Now look at this. Don't you see this? If this will play. Maybe it's down here where it plays. This is technology that, yeah, makes it look like you're materializing objects out of thin air. Basically, you put on a headset, you're sitting at your desk working. It's kind of combined augmented reality, like your real world and an artificial world combined, virtual and reality in one set. So what it is you're saying, hey, your person of your hands reaching out like you're going to grab something off a shelf and you're putting it on a table or your table, and it happens. What it is, there's a robot in the background doing this, and your virtual set blurs the robot out. So it's not like you don't see it. Oh, it's just weird stuff, guys. Really weird stuff, like this thing hanging in midair. It's not hanging in midair. There's a robot doing that. And this is kind of a blurred image where the robot is at the AI. And it's not perfectly screening. So let's see if this video shows it here. Now, his own hands don't look too real.
Mixed reality enables seamlessly blending physical reality with virtual content to create a coherent sensory experience. For example, consider this user using a physical keyboard and a virtual panel to work in mixed reality to take notes. However, even in mixed reality, the virtual world had virtual boundaries and the physical world had physical boundaries. Until now. As the user becomes thirsty, they pinch their fingers to spawn our Magic Make menu. They choose an item of their liking from the inventory. For example, this coconut water, and place it on their desk. As soon as they release the object, it moves and rotates into a valid pose on the desktop and starts materializing.
Beam me up, Scotty.
While the object is being materialized, the user can continue to work. Of course, they can check the materialization progress from time to time. Notice how the object materializes to 100% as the countdown approaches 0 seconds. Let's go back to real time to observe how the last particles of this object form.
That's the robot.
And materialization completes.
Now you can reach out and get it.
So that the user can take a sip from their very physical coconut water. We call this the Magic Make interaction experience that enables.
Wow, see that, guys? What do you think? But that's not the strangest thing you're about to see. How about a monkey mind on a chip? Really? China's Darwin monkey is the world's largest brain-inspired supercomputer. It's got the equivalent of 100 billion synapses, similar to the neural network of a macaque monkey. So when they get to a man, holy smoke, on a chip, a monkey on a chip. Chips and dip. I don't know, guys. They've unveiled a supercomputer built on a brain-like architecture, specifically that of a monkey. So, guys, I got to tell you, these large language models are hitting a barrier. They're not like this. Large language models are not wired like a brain. They're wired like a computer, or many computers on many servers distributed all over the place, trying to solve problems based on, they don't even think like we think. They don't even understand our words directly. Whatever word's a token to them, and they got rules for associating these different tokens. And they look at the context of the language to figure out which associations are appropriate, and then they build a response. That's not intelligence. It's not thinking the way we think. And Elon Musk said a little while back that we've already trained AI on everything on the internet, so what's there left to do? So these large language models are limited in that regard. Now, the diffusion models, in terms of replicating art, are really coming along quite a bit. Like videos now are unbelievable. But the ability of them to associate words and do the things that make people think they're sentient, make people think they're smart, just that isn't the way our brains are wired. But now the Chinese have come up with a chip that mimics the way our brains are wired. They still at their core have arithmetic logic units, as far as I know, but they're set up in a kind of a false or a faux neural network so they can operate more similar to a brain. Neural networks are capable of learning in their own fashion. So maybe that combined with large language models. And what I really worry about is when they actually start using real brain tissue in these things called organoids. That is living brain tissue. When you start wiring that in computers, all bets are off. But for right now, AI is limited. In fact, AI has been oversold. But in the meantime, some people, we'll go back to the oversell point in a minute. Some people think we're going to reach this level of called singularity in just 5 years. I think that's highly questionable because there are built-in natural limits, just like Moore's law. Doesn't computer power isn't increasing 4 times every 2 years like it used to because they've reached the real physical limits. I mean, they're still increasing, but nothing like they did. And they got to find all kind of new tricks to make it happen. So. This whole idea that it's going to reach this level in 5 years, I think is overly optimistic. Popular science sometimes gets some pseudoscience mixed in with their science, but this is what some people in the AI world kind of think this way. But here's the thing: the whole industry's got an issue in that they got a bubble, an AI bubble that could pop anytime. The reason for that isn't because the AI is so bad, it's because so many companies are pursuing it without good business models. It's like the old dot-com bust. Anybody that had an internet company or a web company at one time, they put out for they put out and got investment in their company based on no business plans or shaky business plans. They didn't have a good business model, and surprise, surprise, they crashed. Lots of them crashed. And that's how the dot-com went. But the internet's still here. It's more powerful than ever. So AI may follow a similar trajectory. A bust of a lot of the companies out there that don't have a good business model that shows whether they make a profit because a business has to make a profit. And if you don't, you cease to exist. So, there's going to be a hiccup, at least in that dimension, on the way to singularity. I'm going to stop the share. We're going to talk here for a minute. But still, what Palantir has come up with, and there are many AI platforms for tracking every individual on Earth in excruciating detail. And their combat systems weaved into that. There are law enforcement systems weaved in that. Then you look at other platforms out there like Shadow Dragon, Data Miner, Babel Street. Oh yeah, this is coming at you from many different directions. You are already encoded in their system at some level. Some of you more than others. Some of you can't say you don't ever use the internet if you and be here on here watching me. We all use it to some degree. Well, now there's two choices you got to make. You can either self-censor, just don't come out here and say, like me, loudmouth me, hey, watch out for this, watch out for that. This could get us, that could get us. These guys are over here trying to do this. These guys are over here trying to do that. Oh, yeah, I got a big target on me. They know who I am. So you can self-censor and hope that you're not going to be a big target and they're going to go after others first. Now, in my defense, there's bigger targets than me. There's a whole lot of people making a whole lot more racket, and I expect I'll see some of them. You never know. You never know how it'll play out if they decide to clamp down. It's like Pol Pot when he took over Cambodia. Anybody that was a teacher or considered intellectual in any fashion, well, they went up pushing daisies. They contributed to the agricultural well-being of the nation because they all became compost. I say that facetiously. It was a horrible thing what happened there. But you got to watch what you say on this platform. So, So the other thing you can choose is to be a target, self-censor, or be a target. Well, I'm gonna have to live with the latter because I'm a known quantity and I believe in freedom, so I'm not going to shut my mouth. I might, you know, be careful how I say things, but you're going to know where I'm coming from. Like, when I talk about nugs, take the word nug and flip it around, you know what I'm talking about. Nugs get hungry. You have to feed them kibbles. And the kibbles tend to go through them real fast and they come out hot, if you know what I mean. So, uh, I'm not going to live in fear because I got faith. We're in a war of good and evil. You have to pick your side. I can't live in fear. I can't hide. I can't just crawl under a rock and bite my knuckles, fingernails. No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be a man about it. I'll face what I got to face. I keep my eyes wide open and head on a swivel so I know what's coming. And the day, well, just shut people down if they decide they don't like you anymore, at least on your social presence. And then if they really don't like you, they may be knocking on your door. But there's ways to deal with all these things, the gray man strategy and a lot of stuff like that. But there's the big question. That's not even the big question. The big question is this: the mark. A lot of people think everyone that took the jab will probably take the mark. I think a lot of people that took the pokey have woken up. They don't know more to do with it. But the pressure to take the mark is going to be more intense than anything you ever saw. But just because you got a chip doesn't necessarily mean you're taking the mark yet. You may be the precursor. Because as I understand it, the mark itself is entwined with an oath. And therein is the evil in it. If you take an oath to the anti-X, the antichrist, excuse me, then you're there. You're gone. You are beyond the event horizon as far as the Lord is concerned. If you swear your soul and allegiance to the minions of evil, at that point, there's no help. I can't say God help you. You have passed beyond the event horizon into the black singularity. Not just any singularity, but the dark side of everything. You won't come back. Think about that one. I hope that don't get me in banned in trouble. But what I'm speaking on here is biblical. So take it for what you will. It's going to be your choice in the end. It's not my choice. It will be your choice as to how you go about that, how you look at that, what you do with that. So, all right, I got a few questions for you here just before I go. Just a few personal questions when you can help me out for a change. And if you answer or respond to, I'll know you stayed to the end. Okay. So I know you watched this entire video. I'm going to do another little screen share here if I don't hit the kill button. I've done that several times in videos. Go try to hit the share button and I hit the kill button. Alrighty, guys. I'm trying some new things here on this channel. I've been told I got to do some branding, that I need to put things on my thumbnails so everybody knows the video is me. Now, this is not permanent because I'm still getting my feet on this. Most of your prepping channels have a ribbon on the left side that clearly identifies who the channel is. This is the thumbnail for this video, as you recognized. So, so I got green Gregs over here and a green ribbon. And I made a cartoonized face of me with a green beard. I thought that would be funny. But this is, kind of like a logo. Now, I don't know if that's a good logo or not. It's really too detailed for a good logo, to be quite frank about it. But here's the ribbon. And, I could have used other logos. I have another logo for Green Griggs. This was my original logo. But what this logo spoke to was my worm farm, basically, my aquaponics and garden. Because, I used to grow fish in aquaponic system, which I grew plants also. So this is a rendition of a fish using plant leaves and worms, and GG for the mouth and the body and name of Green Griggs. So I thought this was a unique, nifty logo. It also spoke the idea of using worms to support gardening. So it spoke of worms, worm castings, worm tea, and the essence of aquaponics all rolled into one nifty little logo. Problem is, this is not really, this channel is really more prepper news. It's not a channel anymore about worm farming and gardening because when I post garden videos, they actually hurt my performance on my channel. They don't do as well anymore. So I'm gonna have to change that up. So I thought, well, the one thing that's always been on my channel is my face. So I did a green bearded cartoon version of it here. I don't know. Maybe this is terrible. Maybe I should have kept this. But nobody uses a real picture in their logo. And even this is probably too detailed for a logo. So I may change all this. And I'm also experimenting with some background pictures. Uh, I know some channels, they just put like all red. And some channels got, a lightning storm for their main uh, background picture. And they'll just put text on it and use that over and over and over and over. So I took two pictures. Now maybe neither one are as powerful, but that looks like the world's on fire. That's a video. That's a picture I took of a sunset right out here in Snowflake, Arizona, and area. And this is a late evening picture, some purple clouds, like similar to ones I see people with lightning shows. There's no lightning in it, but I think it's beautiful. I don't know. Maybe it needs lightning. So tell me just in the comments below what you think of these. Like I said, I don't think this logo is going to work for a prepper news channel. I'm not sure that even my face like that will work, but I'm giving it a shot. Backgrounds, maybe I should pick a solid color or a lightning storm or a nuke or I don't know, some guy in a gas mask. I don't know. Is a background, or maybe just a power grid failure image of some type. Different things I'm thinking. I'm also thinking about starting another channel specifically where I talk content on prepping, especially for grid down scenario prepping, not news at all. There'll be no news on that channel. So um, that might be more appropriate over there. And I got another name in mind for it. But I think for this channel, to start out, I haven't ran this through any of the branding software yet. It may come out, and I've got some expert individuals I'll consult with, a couple of friends who do really good on YouTube. So I'll run this by them. This is my first cut, and I used it on the thumbnail for this video. So I'd like some feedback. What do y'all think about it? I mean, at least you says Green Griggs, you can tell that, and that is similar to the photo that's been on my channel for since its inception. So, and it's green beard anyway, right? Green beard, hat, and glasses. Only thing different there is my beard wasn't green. I did have glasses and a green hat on, and a green forest. Now, what was that forest? Okra. The forest I'm standing under was some really tall okra I grew. So I love that photograph. I'm actually standing under it. It's like way over my head. Uh, Beautiful okra. I had a auxiliary garden. I rented a patch from a guy in Tennessee. So I was gardening in Alabama and Tennessee too. I was an interstate gardener at one point. Believe it or not. I've done a lot of gardening. And that's before I started my YouTube channel, I believe. Pretty sure it was. Anyway, so I just want to run that by you, get your input on it. Tell me what you think about it. I'm still experimenting with a lot of things. I got a new camera. So I hope the image is better. I hope the voice quality is better. I'm trying new things with lighting, to try to improve the quality of the video. And I hope you guys like the format changes. I want people to take me seriously. So I got my hair pinned back in a ponytail. I got, I'm trying to convey the seriousness of the topic that we got to cover here. Now, we used to have a lot of fun joking and cutting up on here, maybe in live streams that toward the end we might resume some of that. I have a hard time thinking I wouldn't because I've got a good sense of humor and I like to have fun just as much as anybody. And I do believe that if you lose your mind, you lose your mind. And the humor sometimes is the best way to deal with all the terrible stuff that we're looking at today. Sometimes just you got to find humor in things. That's one way to keep your sanity. So I do that, and it doesn't mean I'm not serious. The fact that if you want proof that I'm serious, it's me being right here where I'm at. I put my money and my time and effort where my mouth was. I moved. I'm now living in my bug out location. I'm living off grid. I've developed my own power system. I've got my own solar power system. I'm doing my gardening here, which is way different than the way I used to garden. So I'm living the life that I'm encouraging, prepping. I'm living it. So, and that's what, in the end, everybody, I encourage you to grow your own food. It's far safer and healthier. I'm going to come out with some other safer products as alternatives to the junk you're buying in the big box stores, which is all owned by a handful of companies and just full of all kind of nasty stuff. So I got some alternatives to that. I'm working up for you guys in the near future. So you're going to see some changes. I'm trying to make a better quality experience for all of you. We can live a better life. And like I said, my motto on my channel, the thing I always tell you, that what we're all about is to thrive, survive, and stay out of the hive. Thrive, survive, and stay out of the hive. What I just presented to you guys was the hive. It's all around us. We're in it somewhat, but you don't have to be fully immersed in it. I mean, they got your data, but that doesn't mean they got you yet. Not yet. They're really too close. They're really too close. But so that's what we're going to stay aware of. And to stay aware, we got to keep our eyes wide open and head on a swivel. We got to know what's happening all around us. So many different ways things are coming at us today. Here domestically, foreign threats, and our own government. All right. Enough said. I hope you guys got the gist of this. If you enjoy what I put out here today, subscribe, bang the bell, and click all. Subscribe to my channel. Share my videos, because especially a video like this is probably not going to be smiled upon by the platform. I need all the help I can get in promoting this and making it something that everybody can use. And that's what I should say. News you can use. That might be a new moniker for me if it's not already taken. But that's the intent, is to bring you stuff to keep you aware of what could be coming at us. And that gives you information about how to prepare and to take it seriously, to give you some idea of what's the thresholds, times, when could this stuff happen. This is what everybody really wants to know. And that's what I'm going to try to bring you more and more. So just hang on. I got some more improvements to do. It's going to take me a little bit to get all this stuff spun up, but I'm trying to bring you this stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching. With that, I'm going to say, Greg out.